Welcome to clickmyproject.com. Our project title is Improving Evaluationary Algorithm for the Scheduling Process based on Runtime Analysis. Our main objective is to executing the job in grid using the grid service provider, which is perform the evaluationary algorithm during the runtime analysis. It is used for the scheduling process in between the service providers. Evaluationary algorithms are resources to execute the jobs and are aims to enable to recognize into the virtual organizations or evaluation, reducing the cost of execution and guaranteeing the maximum profit for the evaluationary algorithm. We allocate the task to corresponding resources for processing. If the resource capacity is not suitable for processing the particular job, we have to split and executing the sequential and finally merge the result from all resources. Our process based on information of our runtime analysis. Initially analyzes the job and that jobs undergoes under analyzation and the job based on the resource which can be evaluated under resource analyzation. Then we check the availability for splitting jobs. If the availability is possible, the splitted jobs are merged results, then GSP allocated the job completions after the performances of the merge results. Based on this, we can allocate the resources and runtime analysis are calculated based on the evaluationary algorithm. That evaluation algorithm is mainly processed for the scheduling method. The scheduling method is nothing but for processing with the efficient time complexity and the computation cost enhancement. Now the demo of the process. Initially, right click on home.java, then select run file. Click on image, we can show the next file. This frame is used for file transfer with resource allocation. Select your file, then your file locations are identified here. Then click next frame, click on image, the file name and the type of the file and the file contents are shown here. Then click show, which is shows the file information is successfully loaded in the database. Then the stored files are loaded into the database. Then the loaded files are splitted and the splitted files are allocated to the sum of the resources. Then click connect to server. The version of file data is displayed here. Then we go to server to Java, then run file. Click start server. Initially start server, then go to the previous client communication. Click start process. Our process is connected to the server side, and then encryption and decryption process are performed here. We should give the encryption path. Encryption, decryption. Click task performance. The result file locations are identified here. Click process button to processing the encryption and decryption finalization. Encryption file is created and also the decrypted file is created. In this, performing encryption and decryption on results to click process button to get the encrypted file. Decrypted file is created for resource 2. The same procedure for process on the resource 3. Click process. Encrypted file is created. Then go to the previous frame. Click on result file to view the result file. Click splitted file information. Forget the original file and the splitted file. split resource process report. In this, resource name or resource three resources we considered, and for each of the resources we calculate the resource capacity, resource time per second, and the splitted file name, process start time, and the process end time, processed time, the overall cost, and that process reports are viewed. Then based on that process report we can calculate the minimum cost of the process. Click process report. In this we can calculate the time evaluation capacity, resource capacity, and the processing time minimized, and then overall cost can be calculated as minimum cost. Then click graph 1. In this graph we can calculate the existing and proposed comparison graph. We compare existing and proposed on the basis of resource task and the processing cost. Based on the resource, how processing cost are is mutually similar. And then another comparison graph is between the execution result based on the processing time. Based on the resources, the values are evaluated based on the processing time. In graph 3, we compare the category execution result and processing cost. We can evaluate the graph on the basis of existing and proposed, and the execution result based on processing time, and the execution result based on processing cost. In this graph, we can calculate the processing cost and the processing resource evolutionary. In this comparison graph, execution results based on processing cost are evaluated in the terms of resource allocations and the corresponding values, which is the computational cost. In this, we can calculate the process report with minimized effect and cost on the basis of split and merge process. Evaluation algorithm is mainly proposed for scheduling process. That scheduling process is mainly focuses on the time complexity and the computational cost between the data. That computational cost means it's processing time based on the consuming energy between the data, which is termed on the basis of the resources. The resources are calculated in the capacity, resource capacity, and the split resource per second. That resources are calculated on the basis of a splitted file name. That file names, the capacities are calculated on the splitted file name, and the processing time and processed end time. The processed end times are calculated on the ending type of the process when the resource gets the data. That cost is calculated on the basis of the overall capacity and the resource consumption, and the splitted file name, resource start time, and the process end time, and the processed time, overall process time. Based on these overall calculations, cost can be evaluated. That minimum cost can be evaluated by comparing the both of the resources in the basis of the process report. Thank you.